35 minutes past the hour. This is the Craig Folly Show on 1019 WDET. Thank you very much for being with me on this Wednesday. And as we talk about plans to reinvent the city of Detroit, rethink what our landscape looks like, well, also a lot of plans out there to sort of rethink what our peoplescape looks like and the types of people that are going to exist here in this community. There's a conference coming up on Wednesday, April 6th and Thursday, April 7th in Detroit's New Center area called the Rust Belt to Artist Belt 3 Conference. And I have two guests with me, Matt Clayson, director of the Detroit Creative Corridor Center, and Suzanne Charles, director of Creative Industries for ArtServe Michigan. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about what this is designed to do. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you think about the name Rust Belt to Artist Belt, but tell me a little bit more about it.
Well, it started 3 years ago in Cleveland by the Community Partnership for Arts and Culture there to really talk about how the post-industrial landscape can be of benefit to artists and creative practitioners when growing their practices. It was awarded to Detroit last year, and really we're looking to take it kind of to that next level where it's not just how the creative landscape helps artists and creative practitioners in their practices, but how the creative community affects economic transformation in post-industrial cities. So really making that economic value proposition.
Well, Suzanne, do you get the feeling that people recognize sort of that contribution, that link that exists?
Yeah, I think so. I think personally, I'm also an artist and curator, and I actually really found that the value of an artist or an arts organization or a creative business coming into a community and making those networks and making those links and being able to see what's not yet possible has really helped transform what we think about. So when we talk about placemaking in Detroit, when we talk about kind of the existence of organizations like the Museum of Contemporary Art Detroit, as well as the Detroit Institute of the Arts, and we think about the artists that they bring in and the work that they do, it really does help transform that area in the Woodward Corridor.
And again, it's a perceptual change too, is it not?
Very much so. We're really talking about the idea that no longer is it just about art for art's sake. It's really about artists making a difference to the way that we think about our cities, to the technologies that we develop. We have a number of artists practicing within Detroit that are using new technologies as part of their work, but also the way that they interface with science and design and the way they really contribute to thinking about what's next, not just for Detroit, but actually what's next for the U.S.
Well, and Matt, and I sort of, it seems like we're entering a different phase in the art world these days. I mean, government programs and subsidies are going away for artists all the time. It's one of the first things that's cut. So there seems to be much more of an entrepreneurial spirit that exists in the art community than there used to be, even just a couple of decades ago. And are we sensing that, people are starting to recognize the economic value of that aspect of the art world?
I think it's being recognized that the difficulty is how do you channel that? How do you take that to the next level so it truly is an economic engine that is embraced by our elected officials, by our decision makers, by our business community? And that's really what we hope to begin that discussion about with these speakers that we have lined up is these are people who are out there making that business case. This is what they're using. This is how the corporate community is engaging them into their work, and this is the tangible economic results.
Well, and tell me a little bit about some of the speakers that are coming and what you're looking forward to here.
Well, we have quite a diverse array. We have people from both the corporate side, speaking executive leadership from Volkswagen, from Detroit Venture Partners and ePrize, different creative services firms such as Skidmore Studio, and then we have really kind of the on the ground practitioners who are really doing some cutting edge work, not just on arts and creativity as an economic engine, but how their work kind of interacts with the post-industrial landscape.
Yeah, very true. And Suzanne, I mean, one of the questions people are going to ask is, who is this designed for? I mean, who is supposed to be at this event?
Right. Well, For one thing, we really want to make sure that artists are at the core of this, and we really want artists to come out. This is really about creating a space and changing the shape around the dialogue that they're able to have and the networks they're able to leverage. So first and foremost, we want artists and creative practitioners of all disciplines to come out. But really, in order for this to be that kind of creative supply chain, we need to see people that are also, in the general public, that are in urban planning, that are in design, that are in economic development, working at the city level and community level. And we really need to see community leaders come out and support this, because one thing that we found in cases across the U.S. as well as right here in Michigan is that when you have a strong, functioning creative supply chain where everybody's connected into this, then this is how you make a difference. This is how change really happens. So we're hoping to get, experts in the audience as well as the experts we have on stage.
Well, and I want to ask you one last question about this before we wrap it up. But, this is the third. And it was started in Cleveland, as you mentioned a little bit ago, Matt. What has come out of this so far? I mean, can you give me an example of what happened at the original one that is really sort of an actionable item?
Well, what's happened out of the first two really are sharing of resources available to the creative community on how they can really have deep roots in Rust Belt cities, and so. How do you purchase buildings? How do you purchase land? How do you grow your practice, grow your skills? Really, that kind of hardcore business side of the creative world. The goal in this one is to continue that discussion, but take it beyond. How do you find new clients? How do you, as a creative practitioner, drive the manufacturing and mass production process? How do you get connected to this wealth of industrial assets that we have here and be prosperous because of that?
Well, and I do want to give you an opportunity if people want to go to this. Do they need to register?
Definitely.
Okay, so where do they have to go?
Rustbelt to artistbelt.com. All spelled out. Registration is very reasonable. Basically, covers the cost of food and beverage for the 2 days. And we hope you can check out some of our speakers, our curriculum, and hope to see all your listeners there.
Well, I'll tell you what, we appreciate you coming in to give us a preview. We'll talk to you after it's done. We'll find out what came out of this, okay?
We'll look forward to it.
Well, very
Thank you
good.
very much.
I appreciate it. Cezanne Charles, Director of Creative Industries for ArtServe Michigan, and Matt Clayson, Director of the Detroit Creative Corridor Center. The Rust Belt to Artist Belt 3 Conference is coming up April 6th and 7th at the A. Alfred Taubman Center for Design Education at CCS. That's up a new center, the old Argonaut building up there. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you.